Tobogo Jaba responds from the chair of balance for humanity. When news broke that Elon Musk, the South African-born billionaire who built Tesla and SpaceX, had received shareholder approval for what is now considered the largest executive pay package in corporate history, valued at $1 trillion, it sent shockwaves through financial circles and ordinary communities alike. To some, this headline was simply another example of capitalism rewarding innovation and risk-taking. To others, it was a moment that exposed the vast gulf between the elite few who accumulate unimaginable wealth and the billions who live on the edge of survival. I find myself in that second camp, questioning not only the fairness of such rewards, but the spiritual and moral balance of the world that allows them. As someone who sees himself as a guardian of humanity, I cannot help but feel that we have reached a point where the scales of justice, compassion, and economic dignity have tilted too far in favor of those already standing on the highest peaks. Elon Musk is undeniably a figure of fascination. He represents genius, ambition, and the courage to imagine a different future. From the streets of Pretoria to the boardrooms of Silicon Valley, his story is one that inspires millions. Yet, behind this narrative of triumph lies another story, one of excess, inequality, and a quiet but dangerous normalization of corporate gluttony. To reward one man with $1 trillion package while the world battles hunger, unemployment, and deepening inequalities to celebrate a system that prizes accumulation over empathy. It sends a message to the world that the only value that matters is financial value, that success is measured by wealth, not wisdom, and that leadership is defined not by service, but by shareholder satisfaction. This, to me, is not progress. It is the illusion of progress wrapped in the language of innovation. We must ask ourselves, what kind of world are we building when so few control so much? When corporations become temples of profit rather than communities of purpose? The irony is that many of these same corporations present themselves as agents of change, champions of sustainability, inclusion, and transformation, while perpetuating the very inequalities they claim to oppose. The $1 trillion payout to Musk is not simply a number. It is a symbol of how far we have drifted from the moral center of our humanity. It reflects a world where data, attention, and human behavior have become commodities, where people are reduced to metrics and algorithms that feed the endless hunger for profit. In such a world, every click, every view, every piece of personal information becomes part of an invisible marketplace where ordinary individuals unknowingly enrich the powerful few. It is as though we are all participants in a grand economic ritual, one we did not consent to, where the value of our existence is measured in data points rather than dignity. In my own reflections, I often feel that this imbalance is not just economic, but spiritual. Humanity is in the midst of a quiet crisis of the soul, where the pursuit of money has replaced the pursuit of meaning. The tragedy is that even as technology advances and connects us more than ever before, our collective consciousness drifts further apart. We have allowed the algorithm to become our oracle, telling us what to watch, what to buy, what to believe. And while we scroll and consume, those who design the systems of control grow richer and more powerful. In this dynamic, Elon Musk becomes not merely a businessman, but a symbol, a reflection of a world that rewards disruption, even when it disrupts human balance. He is both a product and a prophet of the system he dominates, and it is precisely that duality that should concern us. What troubles me most is the silence that follows such announcements. We celebrate these figures without asking the deeper questions. What are we rewarding? What are we teaching future generations about leadership, service, and responsibility? True leadership, in my view, is not measured by the billions one earns, but by the billions one uplifts. Yet our systems have turned leadership into spectacle, turning visionaries into demigods and moral accountability into an afterthought. The idea that a single person could be rewarded with a sum so vast that it eclipses the gross domestic product of many nations speaks not only to the power of wealth, but to the weakness of our collective moral compass. We have mistaken innovation for virtue and ambition for goodness, forgetting that progress without compassion is simply another form of domination. When I speak of balance, I do not mean punishment or envy. I speak of restoration. The balance I refer to is one that acknowledges the interdependence of all human life. The truth that the health of our economies cannot be separated from the health of our societies or from the health of our planet. It is a call to reimagine the structures that define value, to ensure that prosperity is shared and not hoarded. We cannot continue to live in a world where one man's net worth equals the combined income of millions who labor unseen. Nor can we pretend that this imbalance is sustainable. History has shown us that when wealth becomes too concentrated, civilizations fracture. What begins as economic inequality eventually transforms into political instability and moral decay. We are already seeing these signs around us: mistrust in institutions, rising populism, digital alienation, and the quiet despair of people who feel unseen and unheard. In this context, my discomfort with Elon Musk's pay package is not personal. It is philosophical. It is a protest against a worldview that measures worth in dollars rather than deeds. And it is also a reflection of my own spiritual commitment to bringing equilibrium where chaos now reigns. When I say I'm a guardian of humanity, I mean that I believe each of us carries a duty to protect what remains sacred in a world increasingly driven by artificial desires. Our data, our thoughts, our energies, these have become the new gold, mined by invisible systems that turn our very existence into profit. To bring balance means to awaken awareness, to remind people that they are more than consumers, more than profiles in an algorithm. They are creators of meaning, carriers of divine light, capable of reshaping the world through consciousness, not consumption. Perhaps the most powerful lesson in all of this is that true wealth is not material but moral. The richest individuals are not those who accumulate the most, but those who contribute the most to the healing of humanity. $1 trillion in one man's pocket does not advance civilization, it simply exposes the poverty of our priorities. What if we rewarded acts of compassion the way we reward corporate profit? What if the world's greatest innovators were those who ended hunger, cured disease, or brought peace? In that world, the headlines would not celebrate pay packages, but progress measured in human well-being. We would speak not of stock prices, but of shared purpose. The conversation on Chair 959 reminds us that the question of Elon Musk's wealth is more than a financial debate. It is a mirror held up to our collective values. It forces us to ask whether we are content to live in a society where admiration of wealth overshadows empathy for the poor. I believe we can do better. We must reimagine capitalism, redefine success, and reawaken the spiritual dimension of our economic life. We must build systems that serve humanity, not exploit it, economies that honor life, not extract from it. And each of us, in our own small way, must become a guardian of that balance, protecting the invisible threads that connect us all. The future we are building depends on the consciousness we bring to it. If the next generation of leaders learns that value lies only in accumulation, we will inherit a world of machines and misery. But if they learn that value lies in compassion, in service, and in the courage to share, then perhaps there is still hope. Elon Musk's $1 trillion reward should not inspire imitation. It should inspire introspection. Because the question is not how much one man can earn, but how much humanity can endure before it remembers what truly matters.